Jai Radhe, Hare Krishna, Jai Radhe. So in a proper Vedic style, I'll elucidate the reasons why I have the proof that Bhavananda's poisoned Prabhupada. It's very, very clear. I mean, it's so simple, it doesn't really require any more elucidation. But as this is going to be going to a court, I'm going to provide the exact details that prove without question why and how he poisoned Prabhupada. Now, the first thing is that Prabhupada named Gaur Govindaswamy to at least be in charge of the movement while the initiations were taking place as he had ordained through temple presidents, etc., which was going on already. I happened to take first and second initiation from Bhavananda because I was shuffled to make sure he had some initiates. I joined 8 years before 5 years before Bhavananda came onto the scene, and but they shuffled me around so that he would have someone to initiate. So I was his first initiate in Australia. So I viewed him, and I was very, very strict, and I viewed him, with more discretion than anyone did. That's why I have got the option to portray this at the moment. It's quite fortunate, and I'm begging you to pay attention because there's no one else who has actually the the track history. So the first thing about you need to understand what a narcissist is. So they display incredible dexterity in portraying themselves as flawless and heroic and very, very strong and handsome and all the qualities that Bhavananda himself exudes in his videos that are all there on YouTube, and I've documented them on my YouTube channel, Nandagopal, particularly in the clips. If you go to the clips, you'll see there's a string of them. There's many of them, and if anyone's interested, I can also PM them to you, the details. But they are all elusive, and if you put all them together, you'll understand what a narcissist is, how they protect themselves from being found out by exhibiting themselves as the most important, which he's done in his recent video, which only a week ago in Vrindavan, he announced that he was the avatar. That Prabhupada actually said, Prabhupada was joking, but he said that Bhavananda was the avatar just because someone had made a joke about it in a South Indian newspaper. So the way he's portraying himself is actually to cover the fact that he poisoned Prabhupada. These are the sort of subtle facts that, although we know he said one Gurukul boy was watching him putting powder in a food preparation that he was giving to Prabhupada, and he said, "What's that?" And Bhavananda said, "Oh, it's magic dust." White powder was obviously the cadmium. So I mean that's I mean we don't need more direct proof. And you could say that's hearsay, but no, I read that. I read a Gurukul boy who said that, as well as another poor boy who had to beat Tamal's body with an iron rod 41 times to get it into a position, so-called to get it into a position for what? No, that was actually brutal narcissism, as what Bhavananda did on the Gurukul boys. His entire time in New York, he had them out in the balcony, freezing cold. He was simply torturing the Gurukul boys. And this is just flat. As we know, thoughts expand. They cannot not have a result. And the fact is that, so the $400 million lawsuit in America, the Tim Lee one, and just the horrendous molestations and everything, his history that's just spearheaded. Bhavananda was the wake. Bhavananda was the boat, and everything else was the wake. Bhavananda was actually performing all this, and because he was the leader of ISKCON, and he became the super leader of ISKCON when he poisoned Prabhupada. He was already the leader in ISKCON. And then because he pretended to do Chatumasya, he became the supremo leader. And then he was able to poison Prabhupada. He became the real leader of ISKCON, which he exhibited in his videos with the newspaper reports, everything. So it's all displaying himself. I'm just trying to provide accurate proof that he poisoned Prabhupada by being his first disciple in Australia and showing you what he was like in Australia, which things you don't know. For instance, he was living with a man who'd had the transvestite operation, meaning he took his genitals off and became a woman. He was wearing a pajari to do the deity worship of Radha Gopinath in North Sydney. And that's where Bhavananda was living with this man and still portraying to be a guru, because he was wearing a I am a guru t-shirt to the gay bars. He's not caring about his disciples, in full vision of his disciples, but he had not a care in the world. So these are just like little facts, and really we could go on and on. But I just need to hone in on the absolute proof. And for now, I've been doing this for quite a few years, and you may hear me repeating myself, but up until now, I've not received any objections. The only objection, Meyer Shah, who was offering, he wrote the book. Not that I'm employed. He backed down many years ago. So at the moment, there's no objection. But the awkward thing is, Bhavananda is still talking on the Vyasasana in Vrindavan as he did a week ago. And so I just have to keep hammering this. I know it becomes trivial and almost futile, except if you love Prabhupada, unless Prabhupada saved you and you need to do the necessary job. And now because he's in India, we may be looking at the Indian government taking down. So anyone who's in India who may hear this, you have a duty now, because he knows I've made it public to him to let him know what I'm doing, and that's why he's escaped to India. Previous to that, he's been hiding in Australia because he knows that no one could take him away. They're all wimps in this. Everyone's a wimp, and they're all still following the ISKCON sludge pit of rubbish that's going on in the name of ISKCON in Australia, because everyone's got a position, and they're not game to give that up. So that's why I'm the only. So now that he knows that, and he's escaped to India. So it's the Indian's job now is to bring it to the courts, and I'll provide any information that you need to help forward this. But the fact that he's hiding in industry is out of my hands now. Although I do have a magnificent lawyer in Melbourne who's willing to take it on, a Nepalese High Court lawyer. But he's now escaped to India. So if anyone wants the thrill of the moment, you can utilize my knowledge of him either 30 years I did on the street collecting with candles. It was absolute hell. What he put all us through was no longer, it was his candle. It was just collecting money for his adrenochrome. So all of these things I can prove and have proven in my videos, and I cannot not just let this escape. I'm just being forced to do it, and I won't go any further than that. So thank you.